Good afternoon and Jai Hind everyone. So now today I will discuss about degrees of elasticity of demand after its concept, that is meaning. First is perfectly elastic demand. Perfectly elastic demand, it is a situation when demand of a commodity is infinite at the prevailing price, and if there is a slight rise in price by the seller, it causes quantity demanded falls to zero. Here the demand curve is a horizontal straight line parallel to x-axis, and degree of price elasticity of demand is infinite. So diagrammatically it is like this. At the prevailing price, the price of a quantity demanded of a commodity is infinite. Okay, quantity demanded of a commodity is infinite at the prevailing price, but if there is a slight rise in price of a commodity, then demand falls to zero. Here the demand curve, it is a straight line parallel to x-axis. It is a perfectly elastic demand. With the help of table you can also see that there is no change in price of commodity, and quantity demanded, it increases to infinite. So at the prevailing price, the quantity demanded is infinite, but if there is a slight rise in price of a commodity by a seller, demand falls to zero. In this situation, this is the demand curve. DD is the demand curve, which is a horizontal straight line parallel to x-axis. So here on y-axis I am taking price, and on x-axis quantity demanded. This is the first degree of price elasticity of demand. Second is perfectly inelastic demand. Perfectly inelastic demand. Here the degree of price elasticity of demand is zero. Means perfectly elastic demand is a situation in which there is a change in price of a commodity, but there is no change in its quantity demanded. That is, substantial change in price, it leaves the demand unaffected. Price changes but demand is unaffected. The demand curve is a vertical straight line parallel to y-axis, like this. OQ is the quantity demanded, when OP is the price, when price rises from OP to OP1, so price changes but there is no change in quantity demanded. On x-axis we will take quantity demanded, and y-axis I am taking price. Price changes means there is a rise in price but demand is unaffected. So it is perfectly inelastic demand curve. Here elasticity is zero, means degree of responsiveness of demand is zero. There is a change in price but demand is totally unaffected. And this kind of perfectly inelastic demand, this situation you can find in essential commodities like salt, life-saving drugs, etc. Okay, so here the elasticity of demand, degree of elasticity is zero, means demand is unaffected. In table also you can see price of X commodity and quantity demanded. There is a rise in price of a commodity, but demand of a commodity is totally inelastic, means it is unaffected, it is constant. So this is the two situation, perfectly elastic and perfectly inelastic. In perfectly elastic demand curve is a horizontal straight line parallel to x-axis. At the prevailing price, demand is infinite. If there is a slight rise in price of a commodity by the seller, demand falls to zero. And with the help of table also I have explained. Here in perfectly elastic demand, the degree is infinite. Price elasticity of demand is equal to infinity. Here perfectly inelastic demand, it is elastic and it is perfectly inelastic, means there is change in price, but quantity demanded is unaffected. So in this situation, demand curve is a vertical straight line parallel to y-axis. Here it is parallel to x-axis, horizontal straight line. Here demand curve is a vertical line parallel to y-axis. There is an increase in price, but quantity demanded is totally unaffected. These two degrees are very important, perfectly elastic and perfectly inelastic.